Hey, what's up, guys? David Glenn back for the Pro Audio Files and davidglennrecording.com. Today, I want to talk to you about finishing a mix. I'm going to call this one How to Finish a Mix. It's something that a lot of us creative minds struggle with, and I got a few bullet points and things that I follow in just about every mix I do, and I want to share that with you. Hopefully, you take something from it, and we're going to go on and talk about that. But before we do, I want to show you over on my website, I've got an article. I've showed this before, but this is a great resource. I want you to have this. How to mix a song and my mixing checklist. Go to davidglennrecording.com. You go to that main page there. If you scroll down, it should be down here. There's a resource page. Click free mixing checklist, and please share it. But by all means, it talks about mix prep, the apps I'm using, the way that we gain stage, the rough mix, all the way through drums, vocals, you name it. It covers a ton of stuff. If you haven't seen that, please check it out. If you've seen it, you probably haven't read it as in depth because there's a lot of stuff here. So go back, check it out. What I want to talk about today, again, is how to finish a mix. And so right here where we talk about printing the mix and my printing process. So after a long day's work, it could be 4 or 5 hours on the mix. It could be 7, 8 hours for some, beating their heads against the wall. It could be 20 hours working through the night, right? After a day on the mix, I'm going to print what I call DGR Rough 1 for David Glenn Recording Rough 1. Put it in brackets. So song name, DGR Rough 1. I'm going to take that and I'm going to drop it in a Dropbox folder that I have. It's a private folder for my eyes only, for my ears only. And I'm going to place it in the folder with the band, song name, nice and organized. Drop it in there. And then I'm going to get out of this chair. I'm going to walk out of the room, go downstairs. I'm going to pull my earbuds out. I have my iPhone earbuds in my pocket. Plug it into the iPhone. And I'm going to launch the Dropbox app. I'm going to hit play. And then step by step, right? And then I'm going to launch Wunderlist. It's an awesome, incredible app for note-taking, for task list management, projects. You can have folders, all kinds of great stuff. Go check it out. WUNDER list, one word, Wunderlist. It's free on Android and at the App Store. And here it is. I've got the song open, and then I'm just going to hit play. I'm going to listen, and I'm just going to take notes, man. I'm going to try to put myself in the seat of a listener, of an average consumer, and I'm going to think distractions. Is there anything about this song that's annoying or sticking out or poking? Kick drum too hot, snare too hot, too much transient, because that happens. S's in the vocal, are they harsh? Are they sticking out? Are they punching me in the face? Cymbal brightness, low end, is there any? Should there be more? Just kind of feel it out. Don't want to get too technical with this first round of revisions. But we're going to listen on earbuds and listen on the phone. And then I kind of walk around outside and I kind of make my way to my car. We have a Honda Pilot. Put it in, do the Bluetooth thing, get that connected. It could be a pain in the butt sometimes. And then I'm going to reference in the car. Now, here's a huge tip. I'm not just going to listen to my mix. Just like when I'm mixing, I'm a huge fan of referencing industry professional tracks that are mastered. I'm going to do that whenever I go to my iPhone. I'm going to do that when I go to the car. I'm going to go back and forth. I want to give a shout out to my man Warren Hewart. He and I partnered up. We have a new company together called Pro Mix Academy. You can go to promixacademy.com. We have a course. Bob Horn has been featured in a new course for us over there. Warren and I have a new one dropping next week, depending upon when you're watching this. Tons of incredible stuff coming there. I could do a whole video just talking about how excited we are about that. But Warren turned me on to a mixer named Mark Endert. I've been a huge fan of his work for the longest time, and I didn't even know it. And his stuff is incredible. I listen to a lot of pop rock CCM, pop hip hop CCM type stuff, and his hand has been in a lot of those records, as with Train and just all kinds of incredible bands, all kinds of genres. But Mark is a beast. If you go to allmusic.com and look him up, his credits are just sick. So go check him out. Find some stuff that you like that he's done, or any of your other favorite mixers, and pull those into the same Dropbox folder. I'm going to click back and forth between my mix, his mix, and I'm going to listen to all that same stuff, kick, low end, cymbal brightness, S's, anything that could stand out and be harsh. I'm going to take a listen back and forth. Same thing in the car. I'm going to do that. A lot of times I find myself having to come back to the studio and kind of get to work quickly, do some more stuff, and then print another one. It can be a little trial and error. As you get better, thankfully, that decreases kind of. But a lot of times I'm going in, when I listen to Mark, I'm like, low end. So I go back into Pro Tools. I take all the top end out of a mix with an EQ on my 2-bus. Let me show you that. I've shown this quite a bit, but any of you guys who haven't seen this before, if I come over here, I usually have this on another screen. There we go. there's the Pro Q2. I have it on my Master Fader. Before Pro Q, I've got this plugin called Magic AB. I recently started using this because version 2 came out and they added a ton of awesome, useful features that make it a killer plugin for referencing. I pull in, just import the tracks. I've got the client's rough mix. I've got Matthew West, World Changers. Every time I go to say Matthew West, the Christian CCM artist, I think of Matthew Weiss. Same kind of sound there. Till the End, I can't remember which that one is. And then, anyways, I pull in reference mixes, collapse that down to the mini version. That just kind of sits at the top of my session. If you don't have the Magic AB, you don't want to pick that up, not in the budget at the moment. I used to have a track up here called Refs track, and that would just be a track where I would paste samples, buy the stuff on iTunes, and drag it in here and have references, and I go out and put markers at the high points, and anyways, reference that. So anyways, back on topic here. I take the Pro Q with Mark Ender's mixes. A lot of times his low end blows me away, so I've got to just go in. I got to work extra hard to get it right. So what I'll do is I'll take the Pro Q, and this is on the 2-bus, and this will suck out all the top end. I'll look at 30 hertz and listen to my mix, and then 30 hertz and listen to his mix. The cool thing about Magic AB, I can click. Here's my mix on A, B is his. Back to A, B is his, and I can listen to 30 hertz. Okay, not doing too bad. Let me go to 40, 50. My mix, his mix. You get the point. And I'll just open that up a little bit at a time. I've talked about this a ton, but this is one of the most crucial techniques to that I can share with you if you're an up-and-coming mixer, or even if you've been doing this a while. Maybe you're beating your head up against the wall for just one particular song. This is something that, back to the basics for me, has really, really helped for me to become a better mixer. So I'll do that. Once I get to around 100 to 150, then I'll reference the mids. And this would be similar to like using like an Auratone speaker, or one of those little mono mid-range speakers. Engage the low cut filter, and then both of these guys just kind of open that up. Check out the mid-range. Once I get to 1, 2K, somewhere in there, then I'll just kind of inspect the upper mids. That's getting a little bit anal OCD, but anyways, just open that up. That's a great way to reference, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So referencing on the phone, referencing in the car, going back and forth, anything at all note-wise that pops in your head, write it down, jot it down. And Wunderlist is a great app. Evernote's a great one. Just your standard notes app with your Android or iPhone, whatever comes with it. The point is just to take notes and make sure you keep that handy, so that when you get back in the studio, be it the same day, next day, you'll be able to get at it and have a clear direction of the things that you need to knock out. I find that when I take notes like that, what's the first note? Bam, knock it out, done, moving on. And things take shape a lot quicker. So listening on the earbuds, listening on small speakers, the Mac laptop speakers for you guys who have a portable laptop, the car, we mentioned that. Moving on, let's talk about the distractions, anything that pops out. Got my notes here. Sonics, low end, top end, that kind of stuff. Weak points in the song. Is there anything about the actual arrangement or the song? Now I'll get a little bit more into it. Is there something you can do to enhance the song? Is it maybe first verse and second verse are the exact same? Maybe the second you take the guitars out and it's just drums, bass, vocal. It gives a little bit of something there. Maybe the first verse comes in big and has a lot of energy, and you think maybe you can pull some of that stuff either back in volume or mute some things in the first verse, then unmute them in the B section, pre-chorus, so that things build and get bigger. Is there anything about the actual song, tracks, arrangement that you can take a step back from and not be thinking EQ compression and just think arrangement that can help improve the song? Automation notes. I love, at this point, 4 or 5 hours in, 7, 8 hours in, I like to think about automation. It's great to have a balanced mix kind of sitting there, but like in this particular song, a couple of my notes are for the strings. The strings have a nice balance to them, but they don't move. They just kind of sit in one place. So I'm thinking some panning arrangement and some volume automation would be great for that. So that's in my notes here. I think you guys get the point. Drum fills, that kind of stuff. I've got for this song, I do a thing called the Tom Subsplash, where I add a sub-only reverb, usually the Lexicon 220. What is the one I'm using for the Subsplash nowadays? It's in my template, so I don't ever really look at it. The Subsplash is the 224, I believe. Yep, Lexicon 224, and I just set the sub to 5, 6 seconds, whatever, and then filter out all of the top end. Sometimes I get in here and boost and do all kinds of crazy stuff to it. But I'll think, is there anywhere I can put that in a song? Toms, any kind of low end bass drops, etc. So that's often a note. Low end, we talked about that. Harsh S's, cymbal brightness, pretend you're the artist. This is the last point about how to finish a mix. A lot of us, we get in and we start, doing our thing, and we get invested into the mix, and we get to a certain point, we bounce it, and we just send it off. What I really want to encourage you to do is to just treat the song like it's your baby. Pretend that you are the artist. Pretend that this is for you. You're the artist. Your picture, your big old face is right there on iTunes as the front cover, and you're going to release this song. When you pretend you're the artist, I think what you're going to find is you're going to be taking more time to get this at the best that you can, get it done, and get it done right. Taking notes, a couple different rounds of notes before the client hears it, getting it right to your ear and what you envision. Hopefully you've had good communication with the artist. Hopefully they gave you some references and you can kind of pinpoint the direction they're after. But I can't stress it enough. I used to, 3-4 years ago, I would send the client the mix after I got it to like the rough mix stage. I'm excited. I got the drums rocking. I got the vocal in. The bass is big, sub, and all that stuff's going. I would send it to the client and be like, hey, what's up? We're on the way. Here's where we're at. Big mistake. Oh my gosh. The notes after notes after notes that come in when I did that, it just would kill me. So a couple of rules: treat it like it's your baby, pretend you're the artist and you're releasing it. And then number 2, never send a mix to a client on the same day that you mix it. Wait until the next day, wake up, do the whole thing that we just talked about all over again, and take notes, tweak the notes, and send that off. I want to give a shout out to Paul Salveson out of Nashville. He goes by Salvo. He told me that over the phone one night, and several years back, couple years now, and stuck with me, man. So that's been huge. You'll hear things differently the next day, even 2 days if you can justify the time. But anyways, I'm yapping. I hope you enjoyed that. I wanted to kind of finish this tutorial off. If you want to hang around, I'm going to hit play. I'm going to share this song with you. We're mixing it May of 2016 at themixacademy.com. It's called Shipwrecks from Above Giants. I'm going to hit play and share some of my notes with you guys, the things that I'm thinking that need to be improved from my current mix and where I'm at. This is about 3 or 4 hours in. There's going to be a little bit more work than necessary, or than usual, but I'm yapping. I'm going to hit play. You guys can check the link of this out, and then I'll come back and share some notes at the end. All right, so there's the song. Thanks again to Above Giants, Matt McQueen, for sharing it with us at the Mix Academy. If you want to get your hands on that, you can go to themixacademy.com. $1 gets you started for your trial, 30 days at $1. Insane deal. Hopefully you take me up on that. Go get your hands dirty and see what it's like. Experience that. Get your hands on the multi-tracks. Mix it for yourself. Use it on your resume. Build your business, etc., etc. Love the Mix Academy. All great things happening there. So my notes, where I'm at, where I'm thinking this, I want to say keep going crazy with my words here, jumbling, trying to spit out as much as possible. Where I'm at this point, about 3-4 hours in, and probably a couple hours because of teaching through mixing it, is I forgot some of the picked acoustic stuff. There's some toms that I want to add a splash to, like we talked about with the Gino Hall sub splash. I've got the lead guitar solo. I feel like needs to cut a little bit more, but it also, on certain bends, when the background vocals come in, it feels like it's out of tune, out of pitch. I checked the tuning on the vocals, and they seem to be straight. It's the bends on the lead guitar, so we'll have to address that. The bass guitar for this particular song has a duplicate of the DI, and I've got I've got Saturn, FabFilter Saturn, Devil Lock, Decapitator, lots of saturation and grit added to this track. Let me solo that for you. Somewhere out here. Those guitars are frozen, so there we go. So real gritty, right? Compared to the DI. It's a nice clean amp simulation from the Ampeg over at UA. Universal Audio guys killed this one. The dirty track, I love the texture and I love what it's given the song, but there are some parts where it's kind of quiet, and I want to, let me see. Maybe it's back here in the verse. Anyways, there's a couple spots that I heard. I should have put the minute mark, but there's a couple parts where the grit was a little bit too much, and so I want to automate that down, and then maybe even automate some builds with it to create some more gritty excitement. I put a note here for possibly some more width. I think I already addressed that with the iZotope. I showed a little screenshot of the iZotope there at 40% wider. I do want to reference Mark Endert's low end. I need to do that still. I'm thinking about tightening up the kick and the bass relationship. That's again with referencing the low end. The drum fills right now, especially the one I added, the kick snare flam thing going on. Some of the tom fills, they just kind of sit one place. I want to look at maybe automating up one or two of the kick snare hits so that we get a little more impact at the drum fills. The background vocals, I want to address them when they came in. They felt maybe even a little bit warm or full. Out here, I want to say it was towards the, I think it might have even been this one right here. Anyway, so warmth in the background vocals, we'll have to address that. There's a section coming out of the bridge where it's nice and chill right here, and I'm thinking about building a loop to replace the drums. Just that couple of bars right there, something like a nice little drum loop, or maybe something underneath to give it a little bit something special. The vocal needs to be automated, and then especially something I need to do is vocal throws. I like to go to delay, modulation effects, and reverb, and look to any places where I can excite the vocal performance with some extra effects. Any words that I can, delay throws, any parts where I can just add some modulation for certain lines to emphasize. This vocal was recorded as a single lead vocal. There are no doubles or stacks necessarily. There's a couple of background vocals, but there are some phrases in here that we can emphasize the lead vocal on. And so we'll do that with things like slap delay, doublers, stereo effects, modulation, that kind of stuff. And then reverb, any certain phrases that he holds out. I know, is it out here? Let's check this out. Can you save me? So it's just kind of dry and boring right now. So right there, I'm thinking delay throw, modulation throw, and reverb throw. So it creates a nice sustained vibe there, transitioning to the softer bridge or breakdown. So vocal effects, lead guitar is out of tune. We talked about that with the Melodyne. Actually, I think Matt Melodyne is. So maybe I'll hit him up, see if he'll share that new file with us. Anyways, basic notes here. Ride the synth, ride the strings. The strings just kind of sit in one place. I want to give a little movement to them. The background vocals, I was really not happy with those because I put another note for backgrounds, and then possibly adding sub to the bass. I got to admit, before I went live with the tutorial, I did add more subs to the bass. So I need to reference the low end. And anyways, that'll kind of give you an idea. Usually at the Mix Academy, I have a video that does about what I just did. Is I listen to the song. I don't play it for the whole time, but I do a recap, go through my notes, share kind of what's to come, and then I move into another video where I will edit those notes and get to work. So I hope you dig that. Check out more at theproaudiofiles.com, davidglennrecording.com, themixacademy.com, all these .coms. I feel like Matthew Weiss over here. ProMixAcademy.com, and we'll see you guys in many more to come. Thanks again.